Hello and welcome to Valley Viewpoint. Healthcare is something that is important to all of us. Getting adequate healthcare in some of our smaller communities is the subject of our viewpoint today. So, Angela, welcome to the program. Good to have you with us.
Thanks, Dan.
Tell us, what is your role or title and where do you work?
My name is Angela Trenti. I'm a registered nurse, and I'm also the program director for the Columbia County Wound Care Clinic in Dayton, Washington.
So, what is a wound care clinic?
So our clinic is considered an advanced wound care clinic. The hospital decided that there was a need in the community and reached out to Hologics. Hologics is a wound care company that owns 700 wound care clinics across the country and provide excellent wound care for patients.
So how is this different from, I just put a Band-Aid on a scratch on my knee? We're not talking about this.
Right.
What exactly is involved here?
So our wound care center offers chronic care for chronic wounds.
What is a chronic wound? As compared with, okay, everybody scratches himself and, you have to put a Band-Aid on, this kind of thing. But we're talking about something far more serious.
Sure. So a chronic wound is a wound that hasn't healed within 4 weeks of standard treatment. And that's when they would come to us, a patient would come to us.
And what does Hologics do for such a case?
So we have different modalities that we can use. We have advanced wound care dressings, specialty wound care dressings that we can use on patients. We also have tissue and cellular based grafts for patients as adjunct therapy, along with hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Now, I know you shared a story about a recent patient that was with you. Tell us a little bit about that patient.
So we had a patient that came to us from his podiatrist, and the wound was not healing. And I happened to be his nurse that day, and when I saw his wound after I took off the dressing, I knew that he needed help and that we could help him.
So if this isn't taken care of promptly, what are some of the consequences?
Sure. So Dave had a diabetic wound, and this can lead to amputation and also septicemia.
Now, a diabetic wound, how is that different from any other wound?
So a diabetic has complications. A diabetic wound has complications through the patient's blood sugars being out of control.
And how does that alter the healing process?
So it takes the wound a lot longer to heal than just somebody that has normal health.
Okay, so it's a chronic condition, something that you can't just
Right.
put a little Neosporin on and it's going to
No.
go away in a few days.
That's right, Dan. So what we have to do with those wounds is we have to debride them, which means cut out the dead tissue and get it down to the granular tissue, which then epithelializes or closes over after that for the final healing process.
So you have different modalities in order to accomplish this goal.
Yes.
What are some of the other things that can be done for these wounds that just won't go away?
Sure. So we have non-invasive vascular testing. So these are machines that we use to see if people need help with their veins, and if these show inadequate
Blood flow
blood
or something?
flow, then we would send them to a vascular doctor, or we could compress them with some compression wraps, which is another specialty wound dressing. We could also do the debridement, which isn't always done in a doctor's office, a family care's doctor's office. So our specialty physicians are able to do this, and that's when they get rid of the devitalized tissue or the dead tissue to get to that granular good tissue.
So you said that you're a registered nurse.
Yes.
Is this the kind of care that every nurse knows how to do, or is there some kind of special training that you have to go through in order to do this?
That's right. So not every nurse has extensive wound care training. I did get trained by Hologics, and I actually have 2 nurses that are wound care certified, and so that gives them more training in wound care.
Now, I know there's also some specialized machines
Sure.
that are used in this process. Tell us a little bit about those.
So we have a hyperbaric oxygen machine. We actually have 2 hyperbaric chambers, and that is used as an advanced modality along with our wound care treatment that we're doing.
And how does this work? What's the theory behind the chamber?
Sure. So the chamber is pressurized and you are breathing in 100% oxygen. This oxygen is then carried by your blood to the injured area, which heals your wounds. It brings about probably 15 to 20 times more oxygen to that injured area, healing it at a more rapid rate.
So oxygen is apparently critical to the healing of the wound.
Absolutely.
And this maximizes the amount of oxygen that is available to the wound so it can regenerate faster.
That's right.
And of course, in our second segment, we're going to get to see me going into the chamber, which is a little bit like crawling into a spaceship, I think.
Yeah, it is.
What do you find personally rewarding about the work that you do?
Well, I really feel that we help these people because they could have amputation of their limb if they don't have this treatment done. So it's actually a very critical thing. Also, people their wounds can be life-threatening, and so I feel like we heal these wounds more quickly. These people could have wounds for years before they get help, and we usually heal wounds within a 14-week period of time with our advanced modalities. So for me, just giving that person their life back and their activities of daily living, they can go back to work, and they just have a better quality of life.
Now, in the case that we discussed, and we want our audience to know that we do have written permission from this individual to discuss this.
Sure.
We're not doing anything that would be contrary to the policies of the hospital or national standards. So we do have that permission. I think that we were very concerned because this wound had been there for an extended period of time, hadn't it?
It was actually there for a year.
A year?
A year.
It hasn't healed in a year?
It hasn't healed in a year.
And you're just now finding out about it?
Sure.
And did it ever heal?
It did heal. The patient actually healed in March, and he left our hospital about a week ago, and he was discharged home with a fully healed wound.
And after going through this for over a year, using the modalities, the protocols that are involved with the Wound Care Center, he was able to heal in just a matter of a few weeks.
That's right. He healed in about 16 weeks.
And this probably never would have happened had it not been for the specialized care that he received there.
I believe so. It could have led to him having his leg amputated.
So even a simple wound can lead to some tragic results, especially if you have a diabetic condition or if you have other abnormalities that are in effect here.
That's right. So we also do teaching along with our advanced wound care. We do diabetic teaching and different nutritional teaching for these patients to get them back on track with their diabetes as well, because that all comes together with wound care.
Now, if someone in our audience is saying, I've had a wound for a year or for even just a few months and it's just not healing, how can I access this? What would you tell them?
So your physician can do a referral for you, or a health, excuse me, a healthcare professional, or you can actually self-refer.
So you don't have to go through a doctor in order to, unless maybe your insurance requires that you get a referral, but you can go directly to Columbia,
Columbia County Wound Clinic.
Columbia County Wound Clinic. And we want you to know that during our break, we're going to be giving you the contact information so that you can contact the Columbia Wound Clinic and learn more about what they have to offer to you. So if you want to get a pencil or a pen ready to write that information down, when we go to break, be sure and copy it. Okay, so they can contact you directly.
Yes.
And is this covered by most insurance plans?
Yes, it is. So Medicare has approved HBO therapy for patients, and most other private insurances will follow the Medicare guidelines for these different chronic wounds that they approve for.
Okay, now you used an acronym there, HBO, and I know it's not home box office.
Right.
So what does the HBO stand for?
So that's hyperbaric oxygen.
Okay, so that's that chamber.
Yes.
That I think looks like a space capsule.
Right.
that you'll get to see me crawl into in the second
Yes.
segment. So they can contact you, and then what's the next step after they've called?
So the next step is we would look to see what their insurance was and what we needed to do to get them authorized. We would have them authorized, and then they would just come down to our center. We do everything there in the center.
Now these HBOs aren't on every corner and in every county, correct?
Right.
So this is a pretty unique treatment that you're offering in your facility. How would you find out, if you're one of our viewers, if there's one of these perhaps even closer? Is there a national registry, or how do you learn about these?
So you could probably look that up online. It's in our community for the Blue Mountain area. The closest one probably to us is either in Lewiston or the Tri-Cities. And so this is actually a very close wound care center for this Blue Mountain community, including Walla Walla, Waitsburg, Pomeroy, and so we're
this
here for the
general
community.
area, kind of southeastern Washington.
That's right.
Basically.
And we do outreach to other areas as well. So Pendleton, if there is anyone from Clarkston, Lewiston, we've had some patients from Tri-Cities as well.
So do you have to get on a waiting list? Do you have like a huge demand for this, or is it fairly easy to get in?
We don't have a waiting list right now, so you would be able to get in fairly quickly after we authorize the treatment.
And how many nurses do you have working together with you in this particular wound care emphasis?
So I have 2 nurses that are on my staff, but being a critical access hospital, I do step in to be the nurse when there's the need.
Okay, so there's basically 3 of you.
Yes.
They're working together with this specific program
Right.
to help these wounds heal more quickly.
Right.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us on Viewpoint. We are not done. We're going to be coming right back to talk more about the facility in Columbia County, the programs that it has to offer, and particularly wound care. So get your pen and your pencil ready so that you can write down the contact information that you will need to get your health care needs assisted through the facility, and then we're going to be right back. Thank you for being with us on Viewpoint. Hello and welcome back to Valley Viewpoint. If you are just joining us, my guest is Angela Trenti, and we're talking about health care, especially wound care, in our smaller community hospitals. So Angela, I had the privilege of meeting you at the hospital not very long ago, and you gave us a tour. Give us a little preview of the tour that we're going to take in just a couple of minutes.
Sure. So I brought you to the admitting area to the hospital, and we walked through the hallway and then past our little gift shop and our dietary, and then I brought you down to meet Angie Moore, who is the acute care manager. So she also manages the swing bed program as well. So I introduced you to her. And then we walked back and to Dave Hale's room, who was our patient in the wound care center and also at our hospital.
And we got to go to a few other places too.
That's right. So I took you to our wound care suites. So we're an outpatient department of the hospital, and so we're located actually in the hospital, but are still considered outpatient. So I brought you to those 2 rooms for that's where we do all the wound care and put dressings on, and then I also brought you to the hyperbaric oxygen therapy chamber room.
My favorite,
your favorite
part
room
of the tour.
That's
so
right.
we can't leave that out.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to be taking that tour now. We're glad that you can join us for the tour, and here we go.
Hi, Dan. I just
Hi.
want to welcome you to Columbia County Health System, formerly known as Dayton General Hospital. And I wanted to bring you out today to share a patient testimonial story of our wound care center and also our swing bed program.
Well, thanks for the invitation. We're really excited about being here with you.
That's great. Dan, I'd like to introduce you to Angela Moore.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
She is the acute care manager for Columbia County Health.
So today we're going to be going down and talking with Dave Hale. He is a patient here at our swing bed program. He's also been working with the wound care people. They have been managing his wounds while we help him with all of his other needs to get him rehabbed and back home.
Terrific. Well, looking forward to meeting Dave.
All right.
Hi, Dan. I'd like to introduce you to our patient, Dave.
Dave,
Hale.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So Dave came to us in November with a pretty serious chronic wound. He was referred by his podiatrist, and I happened to be his nurse that day. I'm also the program director as well, but I happened to be his nurse that day. And when he showed me his diabetic wound, I knew that we could take care of him right away and that it needed immediate attention.
Dave, what happened? Tell me the story.
Well, I've been struggling with a open ulcer on my right foot for quite a while, and wasn't making great progress until I met these people, and I was referred here. That's when things started improving. Before that, I was kind of feeling frustrated.
So, I understand that you get to go home today.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Later this afternoon.
So, what was the process of getting from wounded to healed?
Well, it's a long story, but I spent time in the hospital in Tri-Cities, went twice actually, and both times I came here for the rehabilitation and the wound care. And the hyperbaric chamber was what I think helped speed along the recovery.
Why don't you explain to our audience what a hyperbaric chamber is? That sounds like a big, long Latin word.
Well, if you've ever seen the diver movies where they put them in a chamber for the bends when they bring them back up, it's kind of like that, only it's a clear tube. It's not like the old ones on the movies. It's a clear tube, and you go in there. I was in there for 2 hours a day for 40 days in a row, and they pressurize your body with oxygen, and the oxygen helps healing. It's what the professionals tell me. I just let them slide me in the tube.
Well, let me ask the professionals a question here.
Sure.
How does it work?
So hyperbaric oxygen treatment is 100% oxygen under pressure. And so what that does is it brings that 100% oxygen to his plasma, which is in his blood, and that blood then is carried directly to his wound 10 to 20 times faster than it would for a normal healing process. Dave also had a bioengineered skin substitute as well that we can offer here in the wound care center. These are both adjunct therapies to outpatient wound care for somebody that has a chronic wound that hasn't healed within 4 weeks of standard wound care treatment.
So in Dave's case, we did IV antibiotics and PT and OT, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and then he also was able to go to the wound clinic and get his treatment there. So during his previous stay, he started hyperbaric treatment during his swing bed stay and continued as an outpatient. He went back to his podiatrist and then needed another round of antibiotics, and so then he came back to us again. We did his IV antibiotics, and with wound treatment combined, we are able to get him back on the road, get him back home, and hopefully get his wound, taken care of, and he won't have another hospital stay.
Well, listen, thank you for sharing your story with us, and congratulations again on being able to go home today.
Thank you.
Okay, Angela, where are we now?
So now, Dan, we are in where our hyperbaric chambers are. We have 2 hyperbaric chambers.
These
here.
right behind us.
These 2 are hyperbaric chambers.
Wow.
And the patient that we talked to, Dave, this was actually the chamber that he was in for his 40 treatments that he did daily.
So if I have a condition and I want to get help, how do I get that process started?
So the process can start from your physician. You can have a physician referral, or you can also have a healthcare professional. So that might be somebody in a home health department or a skilled nursing facility. We can see them as well. You can also self-refer. So that means if you've been having a chronic wound for a long period of time, some people have these chronic wounds for years. You can actually...
Years?
Years. Absolutely. So some people have these chronic wounds, and it just makes their life miserable. So they can come to us, and they can just self-refer and call us, and then we can get authorization from their insurance.
I see. Okay, so tell us how this thing works.
So what this is here is our hyperbaric chamber, and it delivers 100% oxygen in the chamber under pressure. So it's a pressurized chamber, and what that does is it forces the blood in the plasma. So your plasma carries oxygen to areas in your body, and it knows to go to your wounded areas. This makes it about 10 to 20 times faster to get that oxygen-rich blood to that wound to create healing, where it wouldn't have it before.
So, this isn't scary. I mean, it looks like something straight out of Star Trek.
I don't think it's scary right. So I don't think it's scary at all, Dan. We sit right here, our hyperbaric tech sits right here. They have full communication with the patient via the phone, so they can talk to the patient while they're in the chamber. And we're all specially trained in how to have somebody in the chamber and do their treatments. So we know if somebody's getting too hot, how to depressurize it to make them a little bit cooler. And the only thing that they can have is a little bit of some air pressure in their ears, and so that might make their ears feel a little bit comfortable, but all you have to do is just clear your ears like you would on an airplane. And we do help walk the patient through that.
So, what are these screens for above the chamber?
So the screens are for people to watch TV. So right. So people get really excited about this, and we actually have Netflix on there. So people like to watch series, a series of TV shows, or they like to watch movies, and so that will make them feel like they're not in there very long.
So they could be watching us someday.
That's right. They can be watching us on the television. Some patients do choose to take a nap as well, which is fine too.
Well, how much do I have to pay to get a ride in your chamber?
Well, that would be free today. If you want to hop up in there, I can put you in there and you could feel what it feels like.
Okay, sounds great.
So now you're on the gurney, so I'm going to take you into the chamber. And you can tell me how what your experience is of it.
I feel like I'm going into outer space here.
So we lift our little switch right here and then just push this on in, and it makes a little bit of a click.
Oh, wow. It's like an echo chamber.
It is. And so then what we do is we just take the gurney back. So now I'm going to shut the door so you can feel like what a patient feels like with the door shut.
Goodbye, world.
Goodbye, world. Here we go. So this is how we communicate with the patient. Can you hear me? I can hear you. That's great. Okay, great. So did you feel claustrophobic? I mean, it probably is a little bit.
It wasn't as bad as my MRI.
Oh yeah, the MRI is much worse.
Angela, this has been really exciting today. So thank you for the tour and for introducing us to Dave.
Thank you so much, Dan. We really want to bring awareness to the area and let people know how we can help them with their chronic wounds with our advanced wound care clinic.
That's great.
Thanks.
Angela, I just want you to know that that was really a lot of fun. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Sure.
Anything that you'd like to say to our audience before we sign off with them?
I would just like to say that our facility is ready and open to help people with chronic wounds that haven't healed with their standard wound care treatment. We're excited to help them if we can.
Well, thank you for being an important part of our community and for being with us on Valley Viewpoint today.
Thank you so much for coming.
Now, if you have an idea or a concept for a future viewpoint, contact us at Blue Mountain Television. You can reach us at 509-529-1949 or simply write to bmt.tv, Valley Viewpoint at bmt.tv. For Viewpoint, I'm Dan Solis.